Hey cool cats, have you ever found something a little bit old and creepy at a yard sale? What if that seemingly innocent item had a not so innocent side? Well, in today's spooky, scary, awesome story, we're going to talk about an Elmo doll that seemed innocent at first, but then made you question, or will make you question, what's sitting on your shelf. Our story begins in Maya's room, which was a haven of childhood innocence. Plush toys would line the shelf with different vibrant colors. Her room was essentially what you would picture a 4-year-old girl's room to be. Her latest addition was an Elmo doll that her parents found and bought at a yard sale. Now, this Elmo doll was a little worn out, the fur was a little ruffled, and not to mention, there was a scar at the corner of its mouth. But hey, what's a little wear and tear, right? I mean, it is just a doll. Or is it? I mean, guys, have you ever felt a little uneasy about something that shouldn't be scary? That just maybe, something's not right? Well, despite that, Maya loved it immediately. That night, as Maya was getting ready for bed, she placed her Elmo doll on the shelf. As she was arranging it with her other stuffed toy collection, she had a biggest smile on her face. Her parents came in to tuck her into bed and gave her a goodnight kiss. As she was lying there, her eyes was growing heavy. The gentle hum of the night was slowly drifting her off to sleep. Just as she was drifting off, she heard a soft giggle in the room. Maya woke up, thinking maybe her parents came back? But she looked left and right and noticed that there was no one there. Thinking that maybe it was her imagination, she decided to lie back down to bed, trying to fall back asleep. But as she tried to settle back down, the giggle came back, louder this time. Maya's heart raced as she sat up on bed, gazing the room. Her eyes landed on the shelf where her toy sat. Everything seemed normal, but she couldn't shake the feeling like something was off. Guys, have you ever been asleep at night and then heard a sound and made you wonder if you were really alone? And what would you do? In Maya's case, she simply waited, seeing if the sound would come back again. As she was about to lie back down, thinking it was just her imagination, a faint sing-song whisper, "Elmo loves you." Maya jumped out, her eyes now looking at the Elmo doll. It was sitting exactly where she left it, but something felt off. Its head was slightly tilted, its eyes, its lifeless eyes, seemingly just looking at her. Maya looked at the Elmo doll, waiting for it to move, but nothing happened. She was thinking of getting out of bed and moving it away from the shelf, but the thought of touching it sent shivers down her spine. So instead, she pulled her blanket up, waiting, seeing if something would happen. Minutes went by, and the room grew quiet, eerily quiet. Just as she was about to lay back down to bed and go back to sleep, the whisper returned, closer this time. "Elmo loves you, Maya." Maya froze. The doll had never said her name before. She was sure of it. Her breath hitched as she noticed something else. The Elmo doll was no longer on the shelf. It was now sitting on the dresser, facing her bed. Maya's mind began to race as she started to think, did she move the doll and put it on the dresser? No, she was sure that she last saw it on the shelf. So panic set in as she realized there could only be one possible explanation. The doll had moved by itself. I mean, think about it, cool cats. What if you knew something couldn't move was now at a different spot than where you last left it? I mean, would you panic? Would you run? Or would you start thinking that it was just your imagination and you're maybe having a weird dream? Maya grabbed her blanket and pulled it up to her chin, her eyes never leaving the gaze of the Elmo doll. She was determined to stay up all night, making sure that it wouldn't move again. But as the minutes ticked by, her eyes started to get heavier and heavier, and she was slowly starting to doze off. And then it happened again. A giggle, more sinister and louder this time. Maya's eyes snapped open, and she noticed that the Elmo doll was now on her bed. Its wide, toothy smile inches from her face the scar at the corner of its mouth now widening as it was smiling. The Elmo doll whispered, "Play with me, Maya." Maya screamed, throwing the doll across the room. As it hit the wall, it went on the floor with a soft thump, laying motionless. Maya jumped out of her bed, running to her parents' room with tears flooding her face, screaming. Her parents woke up, panicked by her alarmed, asking her, "What's wrong, sweetheart?" Maya says, "Mommy, the Elmo doll, it moved, it spoke to me." Her parents, exchanging a concerned glance, looks at Maya and says, "It was just a bad dream, sweetheart. There's no way an Elmo doll could have done all that." "I'm not lying," Maya says. "It actually did all those things." So her parents walked her back to her room, where they found the doll motionlessly sitting at the top of the shelf, as if it never moved from the beginning. Her mom picked up the Elmo doll, turning it over in her hand. "See, just a toy," as she placed it back on the shelf. "There's nothing to be afraid of." Now tell me this, cool cats. Have you ever experienced something scary, something along those lines, and the minute your parents get involved, it's as if nothing happened? I can tell you stories of stuff like that happened to me when I was a kid, but going back to Maya, she nodded reluctantly, though her fears hadn't gone away. Her parents tucked her back into bed like they did before, kissing her goodnight and promising that they'll leave the nightlight on so that there's nothing for her to be afraid of. As they walked out of her bedroom, Maya's gaze looked at the door, half expecting the Elmo doll to follow them, but it didn't move. Hours passed and the house fell silent. It was pretty close to 3 a.m. at this point, and Maya's eyes went back from the clock to the Elmo doll. She was trying to convince herself that her parents were right, that maybe it was all a bad dream, but there was something in her gut that told her otherwise, that just something was off with that doll. Minutes went by, and she was slowly going back to bed. That's when she heard a scraping sound coming from the floor. She turned her head and noticed that it was the Elmo doll that was dragging itself closer and closer to her bed, with its tiny little arms pulling its body forward. "Don't you want to play, Maya?" it rasped, its voice distorted and menacing. Maya bolted upright, ran towards her door, and was fumbling to open it. As she swung the door open, she cast one last look behind her, and she saw it. Elmo standing on its own 2 feet, its head slightly tilted, its smile just slightly widening, with its scar opening even wider. "Don't leave me, Maya," it called for her. "Elmo loves you forever." Maya's parents rushed to her side, bewildered of how frightened she was. But when they went to investigate her room again, all they saw was the Elmo sitting on the shelf. Maya refused to sleep in her bedroom alone again and decided to spend the rest of her night in her parents' room. The next morning, Maya's parents decided to just throw away the toy, thinking that it could have been some sort of faulty wiring with the toy, some sort of issue. But as the garbage man went by, Maya could swear that she could hear an echo of laughing. That night, as Maya fell asleep in her bedroom, her window was still open, and she felt a breeze come by into her room. But with that breeze, a soft voice that said, "Elmo will love you forever." So tell me, cool cats, do you think it's actually over? Do you think that maybe the doll was cursed? Or was it all in Maya's imagination? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let me know what you thought of the story. And until next time, we'll see you later.